fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. My name is Ceasar Nunez, and my objective this evening is to let you know a little bit about myself, provide a little history about my family. About 11 years ago, my wife and I were expecting our first child, After I graduated from Cal Poly Pomona, and I was recruited by a manufacturing company, that's Home and Building Controls, to work in San Diego and in Mexico. My wife and I planned to have children 3 years after we married. So what we did is we took Lamaze classes, even bought a book that's called What to Expect When You're Expecting, and did all that kind of stuff to be able to get prepared for a big event. When I still remember that day on April 30th, 1999. I came home from work and my wife was cleaning the house inside and out. And later that evening, she told me it's time to go. My contractions are getting closer. So I took our briefcase that was already prepared, and her and I headed to the hospital. I drove slowly, and we got to the hospital safely. I told my wife, you know, what is it that you need me to do? And she said, just be there with me. So when we arrived at the hospital, immediately she was admitted to the delivery room, and her doctor was Paige. By the time we got to the delivery room, my wife's contractions were about a minute apart. The labor process started, and my wife and I started applying what we learned in the Lamaze class. The breathing techniques, the pushing, the counting. About several hours into labor, my wife had enough of her labor pains and she requested an epidural injection. Unfortunately, due to the timing of the epidural injection, my wife was no longer able to feel her contractions or, you know, be able to assist with the delivery. So it appears that the baby was not able to turn her shoulders and head to be able to be delivered in the proper manner, and she was stuck in the birth canal. At that point, the doctor told one of the nurses, let's get a suction cup, and we're going to need to assist in this delivery. At that time, fright came to my mind. I was a little paranoid, and I thought to myself, you know, what's going to happen here? We were not told about this. So I remember also in 2020 documentary, they had talked about problems with delivering using suction cups. So I told my wife, you know, what do you want to do? Do we want to go with this? And she said, well, we don't have a choice. We have to go through it. As the doctor started to put the suction on my baby's head and started to apply pressure, I felt like he was pulling my heart out. Okay. So then as an engineer, I quickly thought, you know, how much pressure is this thing going to apply to my baby's head? You know, is it going to damage it? Is it going to hurt her in some way? So I went on and told the doctor, is this safe? Is this a safe procedure? And he said, yeah, it's safe. Let's go ahead and do this. After my daughter was delivered and cleaned up, a nurse placed her on my arms, wrapped her up in a blanket, placed her in my arms. She had her eyes wide open. I looked into her big brown eyes, and as I heard her cry, from her heart to her eyes, to my eyes, to my heart, I felt a warmth down my chest. And I knew that I had reached success, and that she was born and she was healthy and she was okay. My daughter did have a little cone on her head, but after several weeks, it went away. 11.5 years later, my daughter is healthy, she's a happy child, and she's enjoying life, and she's a loving daughter. She's also a straight A student, and I'm a very proud parent. I hope that through personal experience, you have learned a little bit about. Thank you.